All right, moving on. Our next email comes from Alex. He says, I just started listening to this podcast a few months ago, and I love it.
That's great.
Video game 20 Questions is my favorite.
Wow. Awesome.
Last week, you were all talking about the Tetris movie trilogy. I couldn't agree more with the sentiments about this expressed on your show. However, I have had my own idea of what a Tetris movie should look like. I will now recount Alex's idea for a Tetris movie.
Lay it on us.
My Tetris movie would take place in the early 1990s and revolve around a 10-year-old boy named Dmitri, whose parents had immigrated to the United States from Eastern Europe. He is culturally displaced and torn between the old country of his parents and the customs they want him to hold on to, and the new country of America, the new customs he actually identifies with. Yet he fits into neither. To cap it off, his older brother had joined the US military and was one of the few killed during Operation Desert Storm. The only possession of his to make it back is a beat-up Game Boy, scorched from the war with a copy of Tetris plugged into it. It still works. Dmitri becomes obsessed with the game, playing it on his deceased brother's Game Boy as a way to cope with his death and the troubles of growing up between cultures. He falls in love with the falling Tetris pieces and seeing them fit together perfectly, making the holes and gaps fill in. The game itself becomes a metaphor for what is happening on the inside of Dmitri as he struggles with growing as a second-generation immigrant and the loss of his older brother. What are your thoughts on this idea for a Tetris movie? Alex, I think this is good, but I don't think it goes far enough.
Okay.
I think this is the first 20 minutes of the movie. All right, let me add my own little bit to it now.
All right.
He's got his brother's scorched, partly melted down Game Boy, and the Tetris cartridge is like melted in there. It's never
like that
taken
real
out.
Game Boy.
And one day he's playing it, and he gets a ridiculously high score, and then the screen flashes, and it says score recorded, organization notified, and then the Game Boy shuts off. And then the power in his whole neighborhood goes out.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
He stumbles outside. He's like, what's going on? The power company rolls up in a van. It's like, everybody, please stay calm. We'll get this all sorted out really quickly. And in the darkness, someone puts a bag over his head and throws him in the back of the power company's van and drives off.
Okay, this is like
about this,
right
David?
now. It's like an American Tale meets Last Starfighter.
They're
I can't
taking
wait
him
to
somewhere.
watch it.
He has no idea who has taken him. He doesn't
really
know
different movie than
where
what
he's
Alex
going,
was.
and he's like, his mind is racing. How can I get these guys to let me go? And he's like, my brother is a Marine, and if he finds out you guys have taken me, you guys would be in trouble. And one of the people in the van just says, your brother was the finest soldier I ever knew. So they keep driving, and he figures out they're like driving underground somewhere, and they finally stop. They take him out, and they take the bag off his head, and he was in front of this like giant door that's sort of interlocked with pieces. And after a moment, the pieces come apart, and they reveal this gigantic underground facility where there's all these like scientists working, and they're working on these gadgets, and there's soldiers training. And then one of the guys,
I love that you have somehow transformed his heartwarming like family tale.
He's like, what is this? And he's like, welcome to the Tetris Initiative. We're a dark organization working behind the scenes to make all of the blocks of the world fall into place. Your training begins now. Tetris.
Okay, I got it continued from there.
Okay.
All right, and then it makes that sound. And then,
Yeah,
and then
that's the sound.
Cut to a nice, like, cartoony suburban household. Okay. And in bed, a little elf-shaped block wakes up, and he says, "That was a really weird dream."
It's pretty good.
That's Twilight Zone episode. This is like the Star Tropics 2 ending where you find out the people you're rescuing are Tetris blocks.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Yep, that's totally how that game ends.
No one beat that game.
Yep, totally.
If we make this, Alex,
and then the credits roll, and all the Nintendo characters play instruments.
Yeah. Like Donkey Kong on like the stand-up bass.
Yeah.
But I like his original pitch. I think it's.
You don't like mine? Okay.
No, I like yours very much. I like his kind of American Tale pitch there. That's a neat idea for like a what video games mean to us movie. I like that.
So to conclude this, I interviewed the creator of Tetris, Alexei Pajitnov, and know the story of Tetris and what Tetris means and what it actually is all about. And I still have that interview on a hard drive, and I need to make a story about it.
The story of Tetris.
Are you going to tell it?
No.
No? Oh, that's such a great story.
One day he'll tell the tale.
Yeah, but yeah, Damon, what inspired the giant like interlocking doors and the bowl?
Tetris blocks.
Like Tetris.
What inspired it?
No, like how did you?
Out of all the things he talked about,
I like the door.
I mean, it's got to be
Yeah.
a big. It's got to be a big, impressive
It's a
door.
Tetris
Okay.
door.
Tetris did.
Tetris,
Tetris
door.
inspired.
I don't remember.
You think
the
it should
doors.
just be like a
Tetris inspired
No, I'm
everything.
just
he touched.
asking.
Just a regular
This was-
revolving door
No,
you go into?
this was not criticism. This was a question. I just wondered, like, what
The
what
answer is
it?
just so obvious.